Next speaker will be from OPC Foundation by Stefan Hoppe, President. He'll be speaking on OPC UA, the Foundation for Industrial Digitalization, how secure semantic interoperability enables digital transformation, AI, digital twins, and connected value chains worldwide. Please welcome Mr. Stefan Hoppe on the stage.
Thank you so much. So, good morning. First of all, thank you for the two speakers before me from ABB and Siemens. Both of them are board member companies of the OPC Foundation. So they covered a lot of that, what I wanted to talk on, so I can dive more on other details. So let's start immediately. The other one? Down to go forward. Okay, I just move it like this. Okay. So I believe, even we had these great presentations, I believe that the vast majority of people here in the room has a mindset that OPC UA started between SCADA and MAS and PLCs, and OPC UA is a protocol, right? That's in your mind. OPC UA is a protocol because it moves data from A to B, horizontal or vertical. We have moved on. And I try, and please open your mind, that you get the message from me, OPC UA is much more than this protocol data movement. OPC UA is the foundation for the digitalization at all, covering the complete blue area here. Because exactly what here Siemens mentioned is, we need contextualized data, and we need that data across the whole levels everywhere, where two controllers talk horizontally directly to each other. That's the OPC UA field initiative. Data has to bubble up to inside the OT world, to MAS, SCADA, ERP. But hey, if we want to move to cloud and different cloud systems also need contextualized data. So at the end, the protocol, how to move data, is not relevant because all of these levels have different protocols, preferred protocols for reasons. Profinet for deterministic real-time, UDP for horizontal data exchange, TCP inside the OT world, MQTT as a transport layer to the upper world. So how does it fit together? We already started advertising the new slogan that OPC UA is the secure semantic standard for industrial interoperable digitalization. And it's not only for the OT production world, it is across the entire life cycle. And I will talk about that a little bit later. So we changed our wording. This is a picture, by the way, from the Hannover Messe this year, where we had a large booth. Because we have to show that many offerings from the field to cloud. We show the battery passport, we show AI in real life, everything based on OPC UA. So this is where we come from. I started 32 years ago as an electrical engineer, and this is how I started. I was 10-year protocol implementer, and I was writing 20, 25 protocols to whatever different systems. And then, if the data bubbled up again, we had other connectors, other default de facto standards for this layer. And so the data not only have been moved to different protocols, they also have been converted to other contexts, to another modeling language. Today, OPC UA has completely get rid of this. Because you have OPC UA somewhere here in this pyramid, and it's just a question of configuration where you want to move the data. Because the protocols, TCP, UDP, MQTT, are already integrated in OPC UA. You don't have to implement that any longer. It's just configuration. Do I want to move data to the next level, or even bypass levels and directly move data in parallel to other systems? So you're saving a lot of implementation work. It is just configuration. It's even how cloud systems talk to each other. It's REST interface, sure. But REST is also part of OPC UA. Maybe you have not been aware of this. So the question, should I use OPC UA or should I use MQTT, is one of the most stupid questions I always get, but not here, because you're only smart people, I know. Because we love MQTT, it's part of our specification. But MQTT does not define the payload. There's no definition of the payload. Siemens, Phoenix Contact, Vago, Beckhoff, they all integrated MQTT into their controllers. And if you would ask them, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and if you would ask them, please only publish one variable, temperature with the value 20 with some min-max value and metadata like grad Celsius or whatever, you would receive 4 different MQTT encodings. So whenever you connect something to the cloud, you first need to write a little bit implementation. Oh, this data comes from Siemens, this from Phoenix Contact. 2018, we already integrated OPC UA over MQTT. OPC defines the payload, MQTT is the transport, and so you have the data. And now the big cloud suppliers can immediately integrate that data without any additional integration. And all of them, which are listed, Siemens, others, all integrated also OPC UA over MQTT into their controllers. So OPC UA is not a protocol, it is an enabler to move information and standardize information. And this is what we need, and I'm talking more about this. If we talk about summary of OPC UA, first of all, we are celebrating anniversary this year, 20 years anniversary of OPC UA. And the beauty is, it is not academic driven or funded by research money from whatever governments, it was industry driven. And because of what it was industry driven, it only took 3 years for the standardization. We had 5 major updates over the 20 years, but the most important topic is we never lost backward compatibility, and this is why the industry is trusting on this. This is what we need. If we once would break the backward compatibility, we would lose. And the idea of OPC UA is dead. So OPC UA is a modeling language. This is the message I want to put into your brains. It's a modeling language. Then we have multiple transport mechanisms. TCP, MQTT, UDP, whatever you need. You can do file transfer via OPC UA. There's a REST interface. There's a more modern REST interface called Open Web API since 2024. And yes, security is baked in. Siemens speaker already mentioned it with zero trust. On transport, on accessing, who is allowed to read, write what, and see what data. There's certificate management, there's secure onboarding, everything is built in. And this is why we have a lot of so-called information models in the world, because they model their data based on this information modeling language. So talking about exactly this information models, and again, there are 450 and you can't read this, I'm aware of this. But the key message is, number 1, everything is free of charge, public available for the world. Good. Second, everything is available in 2 versions. One is human readable, and the other one is make it machine readable. And this is new. We moved all data, we moved all the specifications into an AI understandable, better understandable RAG format. So AI is immediately able to access and work with this kind of companion specs, and we will talk later on about this. Again, we have 450 free of charge available companion specifications, the world's largest one. This is just a small information for those who are more expert. End users pushed us, hey, can you provide us a super easy tool, because we get devices from our suppliers into our factory floors and we want to check easily, is this device fulfilling the companion spec? I'm a robot, I'm a pump, whatever. And so this is free of charge. It is just checking, is the companion spec fully, the namespace fully available and so on. Good. I talk about the cloud initiative today a little bit more because I believe that's a little bit unknown or not that well known to the world. So first of all, these small companies, SAP, Microsoft, Huawei, Google Cloud, AWS, they are all member of the OPC Foundation, number 1. They are all on the board of director, number 2. So the OPC Foundation is, to my knowledge, the only association in the world really bringing OT and IT people together, one of the who is who of the big suppliers in the world. And it's not easy because, yes, the thinking of OT and IT is completely different because the requirements are different. When the big OT companies deliver something for the industry, it has to run for 20, 30 years. So they have to increase, number one, security. They have to make sure it is checked in a lab and certified in a lab and so on. The IT world is rolling out software, and if there's an issue, they roll out a new version a day later, or 2 weeks later, and a half year later. And if they change the interface, well, who cares? Here's a new interface. I'm a little bit black-white oversizing. These companies came together and they made a cloud reference architecture. And you can't see it, but it's about 22 building blocks. Left here from this red line is the OT world, where you have your PLCs delivering data. In the middle, you have exactly building blocks, which allows you to contextualize, to work with that contextualized data. And the idea of the cloud initiative is that different blocks from different cloud suppliers can talk to each other. So you can take box number 18 from SAP and box number 19 from Microsoft, box number 25 from ABB or from Siemens, because obviously also all the OT companies provided a long list. So here's a long list of ABB products, here's a long list of Schneider, Siemens products, and so on, right? So take a copy of this or download the copy to be aware of this. We already included end users to validate, is the cloud reference architecture fine or not? So we have good feedback because I know 3 of these companies who say, wow, you convinced us, well, the group convinced them, and we are implementing exactly this cloud reference architecture for our factory. Let's dive in a little bit, and I have to speed up. There are 2 main topics. Number 1 is we want to have the standardized data communication to the cloud. I talked about this. It's OPC UA over MQTT, it's OPC UA available via REST interface. Done. This is, the yellow mark part is really the key. If we want to have contextualized data in the cloud, and we defined the data already in the OT world, why not just keep it and keep the structure and keep it in the cloud? If we model the pump, and we know we modeled the whole factory line, and everything is modeled with OPC UA, why do we destroy the data in a flat line of timestamp, tag name, value, and pump it into a time series database in the cloud? It doesn't make any sense, and I fully agree with the Siemens speaker here. So we want to keep the context of OPC UA information models in the cloud, and Microsoft is doing this already since 4 or 5 years. AWS is implementing this. It makes the world much easier. The cloud people also defined criteria for gateways. It is not only move data via OPC UA, via MQTT to the cloud. There are more criteria because gateways also should be configurable with a standardized interface from cloud systems and so on. There are already 2 products available, a commercial one and an open source product, fulfilling everything. The OPC Foundation is investing. We are providing a free of charge editor where you can write simplified models. Just 100 variables in an easy way, put it into the model. You get the model, you can download it into different PLCs like Siemens, like others, and it makes your life super easy, right? I give you an example because there's an upcoming European regulation, the Digital Battery Passport, that is in place in 2027, so next year. And the big question is, again, you have to move data somewhere, others have to read data, consume data, you need security built in, you need a context of information. Hey, do you listen? It smells like OPC UA, right? But it's somewhere in the cloud, it's in a database. Yeah, we contacted the Sensenelec people because they are behind the battery passport, we partnered with them. And as a result, the digital battery passport is driven and powered by OPC UA. But there's no longer an OPC UA server. There's no longer an OPC client. There are no executables. We just model the data with OPC UA. So you have a data description, 130 parameters, and with each battery being produced here on the production level in the battery hub in Germany, driven by Fraunhofer, with each battery coming from the production line, we make a copy of this description of the battery and put it to a database. So there is no executable. So we move in data from the production line, but the battery passport is not just a passport I have and we all have. It's a plastic card or paper. Because we are only born and all the information is in and then it's valid for 10 years. The digital product passport is staying live in a database somewhere because during the usage level, across the life cycle, whenever the battery gets recharged, this is notified and documented in the battery passport. So you know exactly the history of the battery, how often have I been reloaded and so on. So, and to access the data, well, there's a REST interface. It took us exactly 2 times half a day to implement this, moving 130 parameters into OPC UA, half a day, implementing a REST interface, half a day, done. Everything is available free of charge under open MIT license, and there is also a roadmap to make it available for the digital product passport worldwide. So, I'm skipping a little bit here. Of course, we have an AI working group. The AI working group is one of the biggest working groups with over 80 participants meeting bi-weekly. They have a couple of use cases. They are providing free of charge open source MCP servers, which is the kind of tool to tell AI to better interact with OPC UA. And I was impressed that, well, I'm an old person, right? I started 32 years ago. So I had to implement, read this, connect to this, here's security, read data, then print it to somewhere and organize it. Today you just type this in a prompt, right? Search in the network for a pH meter, make 10 measurements, one after the other, with each a delay of 5 seconds. And then a second later, bam, the first dot is on your screen, and somebody squeezed a lemon on top of the water where the pH meter was inside, and then the pH value went down. And I thought, wow, mind-blowing. I understand the value of AI on being much more efficient, right? We already have a success story about OPC UA in combination with AI in the tobacco industry. Philip Morris implemented 2024 as a companion specification which was written from the complete tobacco industry. So competitors come together, they agree how to describe a tobacco machine because it makes all of their life better and easier. And now all suppliers in the tobacco industry have to deliver mandatory the PLC, including this companion specification. And so the end users, like Philip Morris as the others, can much more get insights, and that presentation is exactly about this. In the last minute, a few offerings. We have the brochure, get a copy of this. I talked about the cloud library. We have free of charge open source IoT starter kits, which can run on a Raspberry Pi, where you can play around with OPC UA over MQTT. We have a free of charge academic program. 2 days ago, I was here with universities and to offer them that they can just get all the material. I believe education is really what we should do more. There's a marketplace where we have 5,500 unique clicks on our marketplace. So definitely something to talk about. Here's a lot of success stories from the process industry, moving data to Microsoft, from the manufacturing world, moving data to Google, Renault. We have, I talked about Philip Morris. Procter & Gamble is one of the 5 biggest consumer producers of the world. We have other stories about 6.5 million data points, right? Moving data in Austria tunnel systems to the world. China is a working country, producing country of the world. We all know this. There are a lot of companies working with OPC UA up and down. Unfortunately, we very often are not allowed to talk about this, specifically from the automotive industry. The automotive industry worldwide is so much based on OPC UA, you can't believe. I'm glad that Volkswagen and Renault and BMW joined the OPC Foundation for membership. What I'm really proud on is that OPC UA is even in a rocket, in a civil rocket. So when they shoot the rocket into the space, to have for 6 minutes zero gravity to do some experimental stuff. They are transporting all the data down to Earth via satellite with OPC UA. And that's really a big trust for us because you only have one chance. If you fail, it's a big disaster because it's really expensive. Okay, there are a lot of more information on modeling language as OPC UA for a modeling language without having an executable. So please have a look on this material. But as a small summary, again, be aware, protocols. Do I use this protocol or that protocol in moving data from the OT world up to the IT world? For me, is not the big impact. For me, it has not really relevance. Don't be confused, I'm not talking on the deterministic level. This is where you need deterministic protocols. The Profinets, the Ethernet IPs, the CC links, the EtherCats, whatever. But from there to the upper layer, to cloud, to digital twins, we need to agree on standardized semantic rich information. Because how one digital twin is exchanging information to another digital twin is exactly the same challenge than moving data from a PLC to a SCADA system, just with maybe a little bit different interfaces and a different level of speed requirements. But you need semantic information, you have to understand what does it mean, and you have to agree on something. OPC provides a lot of free tools. I believe that a lot of people are not aware that the .NET stack of the OPC Foundation is also completely free of charge, open source available under MIT license. This is specifically for India a really good chance as a software nation to take something where the world invested, the industry invested something, build intelligent layers on top for analytics and so on, and sell it to the world and make your business. OPC UA and AI is already there. It is nothing for the future. It is already there, right? We have even success stories. We are celebrating something. And you know, my wish at the end here, I have a really nice list of success stories, but I would really love to have a success story here from India. I know that it's somewhere, so many things are here in production facilities. Why don't you contact me and tell me, hey, there's a really cool story, and I would be super proud to promote this when I'm traveling worldwide. This was my presentation. Thank you so much.